the vaccine program. I mean, you just put those words together and your mind goes really dark, right? But we wanted him because he was an expert in vaccines. And we brought him to the United States. He was the only Nazi I found of the ones, the paperclip scientists who came here, that was actually outed, right? He was outed as a Nazi, and that's because one of the investigators at the Nuremberg trials recognized him.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's the only one we got out of here. And guess where he went?
Argentina.
And lived out the rest of his life
there. The show was called Finding Hitler. They were trying to find evidence that Hitler somehow escaped. It was really a bullshit premise of the show, but what was interesting is that there were thousands of Nazis that made it to Argentina and set up shop throughout South America. There's a lot of Germans on there. It's kind of weird.
If you can imagine me on book tour of like the kind of questions I get, because we're talking, right? Having written books about Area 51, Nazis, right? Assassins. I mean, people. I mean, just last night I was at a book giving a signing, and people are like, "Is Hitler really dead?" You know, I mean that, right?
If he was alive, he'd be the oldest man alive.
Right?
Can you imagine? He was probably like, how old was he during World War II? He had to be in his 40s, right?
He'd be hundreds, you know. I mean, but right? Or they say he cloned himself.
He'd be 160 years old.
Yeah, 120.
Well, that's what he'd be. Oh, Jesus.
Jamie knows.
That's an old man. I mean, there's been 120-year-old people, but it's fucking pretty rare. Yeah, so Operation Paperclip was not even publicly acknowledged until, what was it, like the 90s? Like, when did it become public? I think it was through the Freedom of Information Act, was it?
It was this very intrepid journalist named Linda Hunt who...
Shout out to Linda.
Yeah. I mean, she broke the story. That's what's amazing. I mean, as a journalist, you're always writing on the shoulders of those before you, right? And she had it really hard because she did a Freedom of Information Act request, got all these documents that no one had ever seen. And then the government sent her a bill for $125,000. And she had to spend a lot of time. This is what I understand. I never interviewed her, but for Xeroxing fees. Yeah, I just love that detail because it's like, it's such a covert way of getting someone to stop. It's like, okay, here's the information we had to give it to you, but now here's your bill. Imagine if the government's coming down on you for $125,000.
Yeah, see, that would make me want to call a bunch of rich people and go, hey, let's all just donate $1,000 to this.
And it's a different world now. You could do that. You could do a GoFundMe campaign, you know?
100%.
But my God, in the 80s and the 90s, you were just like out on a limb.
Yeah, they would crush you financially.
Right?
We actually had this very same discussion yesterday with my friend Phil Demers. He's being sued by Marineland. And because of, he was a walrus trainer and trained orcas, and he's showing how horrific. It wasn't Blackfish, that's SeaWorld. But SeaWorld is actually, the way he says, it's a day in the park compared to Marineland. Marineland's a horrific place in Canada. And anyway, they have been trying to squash him with legal fees by dragging out his case. But we set up GoFundMes, and all his legal bills get paid for from people that want him to win the good fight. And this is an option today that wasn't there for Linda when she was proposing this. $125,000. You assholes! Like, she should sue them for misappropriation of funds. Like, does it cost you really $125,000 to print those things out? If it does, you guys should be in jail. Like, that's like with like those $10,000 hammers that they have in the Pentagon. Yeah. So she gets all this information, and does the government immediately acknowledge that they imported these Nazis?
No. I mean, she wrote the first book, and it was just stunning. And you know,
what year was this?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And, you know, then more gets revealed because they gave her a certain amount. I mean, I filed a bunch of FOIAs. There was releases. I went to Germany.
FOIA meaning Freedom
of Information Act, yes. Then I went to Germany and looked in their archives with, like, a fellow, a German PhD who had, you know, real access to stuff and was able to translate for me while we were there looking at this stuff. I interviewed a lot of grandchildren of Nazis and children of Nazis. And, you know, I mean, this one extraordinary, oh my God. There's a guy, I told you about Schreiber, right? I'm on the narrative level, humans acting. I'm so interested in rivalry and competition, right? As a concept, because this is what America does to be the best, and also as humans, right? Because people are like that; they're built like that. So the Nazis had rivals amongst themselves, and Schreiber's rival was Dr. Blum, who was in charge of the biological weapons program for Hitler. Okay, and Blum had a son, and Blum was prosecuted at Nuremberg. You can see a picture of him with a big dueling scar. You know, he was a bad dude. He
He
was
had a dueling scar?
dueling scar.
Duel like a sword? Duel?
Sword fighting. It was like among the Nazis, they would duel with one another when they were younger students, and then they would pack the wound with horsehair to make it even more pronounced because it looked ferocious.
Really?
Jamie, pull up.
What's his name?
Well, you can pull up Dr. Blum, Blme, but also, yeah,
Big ass scar on his
right.
face.
And also you can pull if you pull up Kurt Debus, who was the director of our JFK Center. He was Nassen's von Braun's number 2. He had a huge dueling scar, and yet when you know, look at there he is right there. Knowing what we know now, it's like, come on, you're trying to tell me that guy's not a hardcore Nazi?
So those guys had dueling scars on their faces.
Yeah, you see him.
How often did they duel?
Well, when they
Did
were
they
in
do it
college,
to the death?
no. It was like on God, you know,
Oh,
and then
like
they would
fencing.
fencing.
Oh, this guy had it too.
Yep.
How'd they not get poked in the eyes?
Oh, I guess that was the gentleman's rules.
How do you fuck? Listen, you're going for the cheek, you hit the eye. Like that's happens all the time. You must have cut a lot of eyeballs out.
I haven't seen any photographs of missing eyeballs, but there's a lot right on the cheek, so maybe that was the whole point. It was actually just a bit for show,
Oh,
right?
What weird.
But it was a
Badge of honor.
badge of honor, yeah. But
wow! So they all had it on their face.
Yeah.
It's all in the same spot. Dueling scars.
yeah.
Wow.
So
So
imagine
they
like
wanted to have these scars.
that was a
Jesus Christ! Oh, they had goggles on.
Well, there you go. That's how they didn't take out the
Academic
eyeballs.
fencing, it says. Academic fencing. So what they were essentially doing, they were having fencing matches with real swords, not with ones with tips.
Okay.
Wow. And cutting their faces up. Fuck, man. Oh, Jesus, look at this guy's face. Yikes. Wow. Dueling cults. That is crazy.
So when you consider like that people did not know about that, and then you've got these Germans walking around America as part of our space program and our science programs, and oh, these are the good Germans. I mean, now you really have to say to yourself, come on,
They were
guys.
all
I mean,
Nazis.
right?
Big ass fucking
Yes.
scars on their face.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oof. That's dark, man.
OG fight.
Yeah, right. OG. Super OG. Yeah. God, it's crazy. Wow.
So I go to interview Doc. Sometimes you, as a journalist, you can get amazing information from.
Look at these guys. Oh my God. They're sliced up.
Badge
History
of
of
honor.
European martial arts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a martial art. I mean, it's an art of war. It really is. Sword fighting is a martial art. I mean, many martial arts have weapons. Oof. Sorry. So you got to interview these people.
So to piece together the story,
Yes.
right? I can't tell you, others can, right? Sometimes to find out more about the Nazis, I went to Germany and sought out some children of these top Nazis to see if maybe they didn't have journals or anything they might share with me. And one of them was Dr. Blum. His son, I tracked down, I found him. And he said, yes, you may come visit me. It was such a remarkable journey. It was like he lived in the Black Forest. I had to take like a taxi through the mountains, up over the hill, down through the valley, into a courtyard behind a church to Dr. Blum's house. So he was the junior to his father, who was this horrific Nazi. I mean, a top Nazi, had favor of the Führer, wore what was called the Golden Party Badge, right? Hitler gave out these little buttons. Blum's was, I believe, number 6. So that's how favored he was. And his son, Dr. Kurt Blum, whereas the father was in charge of the biological weapons program, so his plan was to, murder people with biological weapons from nature, right? The son had been a medical doctor, but had left the profession to cure people with flowers. It's called Bach flower therapy. So he was this very interesting individual who had never given an interview before, and he agreed to let me come to him. So I go on that journey, I go to his house, and he was remarkable. I mean, he was so interesting. Talk about the sins of the father, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, my God, what he had as a burden, right? And I asked him to tell me everything he could about his father, and he did. And then he asked me to tell me what I knew about his father. I had information from the German archives about his father that he did not have.
Like what kind of stuff?
Like that his father had given something. I'd just come from this archive and found these documents. Dr. Blum ordered that 6,000 tubercular Jews be given Sonderbehandlung. That's the German word. What does that mean? Special treatment. There's a euphemism for you. That was kill those 6,000 tubercular Jews.
When you say tubercular, is that people with tuberculosis?
Yes, they were suffering from tuberculosis. And Dr. Blum worked closely with Himmler, and they just decided to kill them. And, you know, sitting there talking to this man, telling him about his father at his request was remarkable. And